All right, welcome everybody. This is session 2. Take it away, Cara.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. There we go. How's that? Um, please check in using the QR code here. If you don't want to use the QR code, Maggie can paste the check-in link in the chat, and she could be doing that throughout the course. So please check in. It helps us know who is here and know who's interested in attending the program. All right, so in today's session, we're going to be focusing on going from idea to business concept. We're going to reflect on these questions by the end of the session. So how do I decide if my idea is worth pursuing from a market perspective? What is my risk tolerance? And should I think about co-founding? So some key considerations when evaluating your business. We talked about your idea on Tuesday, and it's really important that we refine that and we dig into that a little bit deeper. So when we want to start a business, some key considerations, be sure that your idea, it solves a real market-based problem. Many times we want to create something because we want to create it, because we want this thing to exist. But in order for it to exist long-term and to be sustainable, it must address a problem in the market, a real problem that the market has told us exists, that they need help with. And the other thing is it needs to fit current consumer behavior. If it doesn't, then there is a lot more education that needs to go into it. And so it's really interesting to know not just what the problem is, but how do people interact with that problem? What is that variation of the problem person to person? And what does that look like? And then what sort of solutions are they looking at right now to address that problem? And, the types of solutions they're looking at will help you identify if you're in the right area. If they're not looking for solutions, it tells you that maybe it's something that isn't that big of a pain point for them if they're not looking for any current solutions. So key things to evaluate when you're assessing your business is, does this solve a real market-based problem? And does it fit with current consumer behavior? So assessing your business and assessing your ideas. It's really important that you do a lot of market research and you have a lot of conversations before you spend the money. We can spend money on websites and business cards and product development, and we may end up being in the wrong place. And so I want to encourage everybody to focus on the things that we can do for free right now. I always say that a conversation is free, handshake is free, go out and do that and talk to people. And so this first bullet here is talk to people, learn what they want, and make decisions based on that feedback and that data. So what are people telling you is a problem? Maybe it's a problem in the community. It's a very specific problem for a market segment. What is coming up from these conversations? From these conversations, you want to make sure that there is a real need, that the product or service must fill a need perceived by enough people in order for this to be profitable and long-term sustainable. So make sure that it's a real need and a need that people are willing to spend money on. The third thing is you need to figure out who your customers are. When we're first talking about your customers, we might say everybody within this specific community or this age group or this demographic are all going to be my customers. And that's a fine place to start, but we want to get very, very, very specific. We want to have conversations with these customers and we want to see what their problems are. And so in order to have conversations and to know what to ask them, we need to know exactly who they are. And so a key thing I find is if you focus first on the problem and not the product or service itself, excuse me, and not the product or service, it's easier to find customers who are interested in solving that problem. And so think about the core thing that you want to solve with your business. Think about all the people who touch that problem and interact with it. And then C, are they willing to pay for a solution? So when we talk about your idea and your business, it's a great idea to start with multiple ideas and then just go through this process of talking to people, evaluating, identifying if there's a real need. So some examples, what is the customer problem that you are solving? An answer may be property owners don't always have time to screen tenants, collect rent, advertise, and maintain their properties. So this is great. This is a problem. So what is a problem you're interested in solving? And then focus on the question of, how are you going to test that? How does your product or service solve this problem for your customer? In this case, we make owning property easy by handling the operations so property owners can just sit back and collect the cash. So think about the different ways that you can talk to your customers and talk to the market in order to answer some of these questions. And so I encourage you to, we're going to share these slides afterwards, but think about these questions here in the left column and the types of answers to be prepared to give to the customers. So another one, how is it different from other products or services? What is your competitive advantage? And so if I was a business, I may say, unlike our peers, we specialize in properties in the Culver City area. Since we live and work in the area, we understand the neighborhood and can provide hands-on experience. Who will buy it? New landlords, absentee landlords, and landlords tired of headaches of property management will buy our services. Now, I love this because it's specific. It still is landlords, but it's 3 types of landlords. And it is specific to their needs, right? So landlords tired of headaches of property management will buy our services. That's very, very important to get as specific as possible. Not just all people in this area, not all people who are homeowners, but how about landlords, new landlords, absentee landlords, and landlords tired of headaches? So focus on the way that this has been segmented, because this is very important for how we're going to get the answers. And why will they buy it from you? Our background in tenant, landlord law, convenience, and efficiency are good reasons to hire us. So as you evaluate your ideas, look at these questions and think about how you may answer them. And I'm going to leave this up on the slide for a minute here so we can absorb it. Does anybody have any questions or anything you'd like to discuss with this slide? Thinking about your idea, thinking about these questions, and thinking about how you may answer them.
Cara, I'm not seeing any questions online. But yeah, we're going to talk more about customer discovery questions and how to go about doing that in Tuesday's class.
Right. So we're going to dig into this. It's a very, very important thing to do market research and customer discovery. And you really should be doing that as early as possible. And so Maggie is our expert, and she's going to walk us through all of the key questions that you can be asking. So our session on Tuesday and our session today are all about the idea and adding some color to what that idea looks like. What is it in the market, or your customers, that sort of stuff. So let's start to take some shape, and then we will get into customer questions. All right, so we are going to do a 10-minute activity, and I want everyone to get comfortable with talking about your idea. And so I will encourage everybody online to either unmute at the end of the activity, or if you want to put something into chat, at least 3 people. I'd love to see some responses. So let's focus on this for the next 10 minutes. What is the customer problem you are solving? How does your product or service solve this problem for your customer? How is it different from other products or services? And what is your competitive advantage? Who is going to buy it? And why will they buy it? I will add that it's okay if you don't know. It's okay if it's a guess. It's okay if it's an assumption. The key here is to get comfortable with putting it down on paper. In order for us to test something, in order for us to make something into reality, first we must start with this idea that we can then mold into something that can become reality. So it's okay if it's guesses and assumptions at this point. So we're going to take about 10 minutes if you guys can answer these 6 questions, and then I'd love to get at least 3 responses in the chat in 10 minutes. So we'll come back at 12:22.
We haven't actually covered market research yet, Thurman. That will be in tomorrow's, or not tomorrow. It's the next session. So that is Tuesday. And I will give you a specific resource that has a lot of databases to do this type of research. So we pack a lot of information into Tuesday's session. We do this customer discovery 2-part process, and then we talk about the market, TAM, SAM, and SOM, and the research that goes into finding those numbers.
And Lori, I saw that you just joined us. We're going to spend the next few minutes working on talking about your idea. So if you would like to write down your responses to each of these 6 questions, and then a few of us are going to be sharing in the chat at the end. Or if you want to unmute and share your answers, that's great too.
Cora, she just connected to audio, so she didn't hear what you were saying. So you're going to have to repeat it.
Oh, okay. Hi, Lori. Thank you for joining us. We are spending the next few minutes going through this activity where we are getting comfortable with talking about our idea. So there are 6 key questions here that you should ask yourself when you're evaluating your business idea and your concept. And so we're spending the next few minutes here just providing responses, and then we're going to share them at the end. So please let me know if you have any questions in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to take another 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to give it another minute, but is anybody interested in sharing their idea? Anybody want to start putting anything in chat or any questions at this point? I would also like to add that this is very, very early stage at this point. It's okay if these are not definitive, real answers. This is where we begin. We are really going to be digging into customer discovery with our Tuesday presentation by Maggie, and we're going to really get into some of the details about talking to your customers. So give it another minute, but please feel free to paste your answers into the chat. Or if I have any brave souls who would like to unmute and share their idea and just answer even just one of the bullet points or some of the bullet points. It doesn't have to be a full comprehensive answer. It's just let's get comfortable talking about our ideas.
Well, Cara, so far nobody has pasted anything in chat. I'll sing out when they do.
Okay. I know we had some good ideas on Tuesday, some concepts that everybody is working on. And so it's really, really key that we start to unwrap it a little bit and we focus on the problem that you're solving for the customer, the perceived problem, what is your product or service? How is it solving that problem? How is it different? What makes you different from your competitors? Who is going to buy it? And why will they buy it?
Can we could see our answers now?
Yeah, yes, please share out your answers.
Okay, this is Sam and Britt. We're in the car right now. But for our tree service, the number 1 question would be, or the answer would be removing hazardous fire fill material. And then number 2 would be, because some people aren't able to safely clean up or remove fire material as them being elders or handicapped. Number 3 is it'll be Native American.
Did we lose audio?
It doesn't appear so, but I don't hear anymore.
I'm back.
Okay.
So number 4 was to network with other Native Americans.
Okay,
And then number
great.
5 was community and local.
Good, great.
And then 6 would it'll be beneficial to the communities.
Great, awesome, perfect. Thank you
So that
so
was
much
our-
for your response.
Yep.
Good, great, thank you. All right, is anybody else interested in sharing their idea out and getting some definition to it?
I have a quick question. So a lot of the I think in a lot of the businesses are the ideas that are out there that are customer based. It seems like it'd be tribally based for like the tribe itself. Or
Mhm.
you know, an issue that we've all seen, you know, out there as Native people within our communities, a service to really kind of provide a service or a product to the tribe itself, or the tribes having issues, internal issues, or being stuck. So I was just wondering, like, when thinking about some of these words or the, you know, the customer problem, you know, if people can maybe think about when you have that idea, you know, what is the issue within the tribe that you're trying to solve, or within the community that you're trying to solve. If you maybe think about it that way, it might help a little bit. But I know there's some really great ideas in here, so just waiting for people to voice them.
Sometimes it's the hardest part is speaking it to reality, but this is where we begin so that we can begin to refine it and mold it into something that can create the impact that you want in the communities.
So
All
Bill,
right, we're gonna.
I'm
Oh,
going to
ahead.
ask Bill what his business is because I don't know yet. Bill, are you able to speak? If you're not, you can put it in chat. I know some people are doing this while they're at work and it makes it difficult.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Just kind of listening in right now. Still kind of gathering a little bit of information on it still. It's kind of a multi-level thing, but it's more of a consulting business, developing from organizational to development to program, you know, project development, that kind of sort. So I guess that's one. And then the products, services, problems, and being able to provide, you know, just organizational assessment, program assessments. That's kind of all I have for there right now. I'm still kind of brainstorming that. How is it different? It's definitely hands-on, unique, you know, real-time guidance, providing policies, procedures, developments, competitive advantage, definitely native owned, unique value vision, unique values, innovation, quality, certified professionals, first-hand knowledge, who will buy it. Probably more likely would be tribal organizations. And why will they buy it? Expertise, efficiency, flexibility, focus. That's kind of all I have for right now.
That's a good start.
That's great. That's a lot to have already. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. You know, and as I said, this is a place to start, and this is where we start to brainstorm. This is where we have some ideas and we start to think of who our customers are. And right now we're focusing at a really high level what our idea is and could be and the impact it could have. You know, and then we're going to spend the rest of this program just refining different elements of that so that we can bring that into reality. And, you know, we're going to be talking about the finances. We're going to be talking about who your customers are, the business model itself to actually make it run and to make some money. So the idea is where it starts, and focusing on some of these questions is key. So thank you for your response. Do we want to take one more? Any brave souls?
Well, we have Tamara and Lori left. So do either one of you want to say, we don't want to put you on the spot, so you don't have to talk if you're not comfortable doing it. But you'll find that all the other entrepreneurs are very supportive of other entrepreneurs because you guys are all kind of in the same boat and you know you're going to have similar challenges, not specifically, but just in general, similar challenges.
Mhm.
I guess I could kind of go with my idea if that's okay.
Great.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
So, like you said, this is high level thoughts about it, but I was thinking about doing a fire emergency vehicle rental business because the
Cool.
logistics are difficult for smaller vehicles that aren't readily available to fire programs due to budget constraints and maintenance and upkeep. They would be Razor quad units equipped for emergency and fire services. So that would make the product different. See, the competitive advantage would be that I've had past experience as a fire dispatcher and wildland firefighter. So I've seen some of that and how the internal workings are. Who will buy it? Government agencies, even tribal programs, emergency services in counties and states, just depending on, what's going on, whether it's a search and rescue or if it's a wildland fire unit. I've seen these types of rental programs pretty successful, and that why would they buy it from me? I'd hope to get my 8A status as a minority woman owned business, and that would get me higher up on the list for available resources.
That is absolutely great. I think one of my favorite things about what you've just said is that you listed your expertise and your background, and you're going to leverage that as your competitive advantage. That is so important and that is so key. And I feel like a lot of people forget that, that you, the founder, you have something that someone else doesn't have. You have this relevant background and expertise and connections, and you know how it works. And that is such a strong and compelling competitive advantage that says this is why you can do this. This is why this is your opportunity now. So that was really great. And it's very clear, the problem that you're solving, the product, how it's going to be deployed. That's exciting. It's really exciting. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to move on. Thank you, everyone who shared their ideas. So we're going to be focusing on something called the business concept statement. So, on our last slide, we have those core bullet points, those core questions to ask yourself. Really, the next step is let's mush this into a statement, and let's make it a little bit more official and refined. And it is what helps your idea get a little bit closer to reality. And then you can also use this as a tool to get real-time feedback on that concept. So this is great, having people, talk about your idea, feeling comfortable to answer some of those questions. It goes from this thing that we think about at night or think about in the shower to something that is now spoken into the world that now it can exist. And so this thing is out there, and let's begin to give it a little bit more shape. So here is an example of a business concept statement. If you guys would like to read this. So this company specializes in guiding management through the array of patent and trademark issues. They differentiate by providing legal expertise directly to firms' founders, saving clients the time and expense that occurs when large firms hand work to junior associates. Years of experience coupled with the firm's network systems ensure clients receive the most effective representation. So we've got a law group that is covering all their bases. Marketing plans to acquire new clients, small and mid-sized companies looking to outsource patent and trademark needs, include an interactive website for immediate answers to routine legal issues and direct mail, personalized letters with personal phone call follow-ups by the firm's three principals. So before we read the rest of the slide, did anybody notice anything? Please put this in the chat, unmute, let's get talking. But have you noticed anything about this? To me, this looks like the bullet points on the previous slide all together as one very confident, cohesive statement. So while you're considering creating your business concept statement, if you take the time to answer those bullet points and you start to figure out what those things are and how you, stand out against competitors, what that product actually is, I encourage you to turn it into a statement piece that you could then shop around and tell people, hey, this is my business concept. I'd love to tell you about it, and get feedback on it. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this?
I think it goes to what you kind of just highlighted with Lori, labeling their experience, using that as kind of an example of why this is different or where it is your angle coming from. And then also the marketing plan. So it's kind of like you said, pull those points in together. So
Right, right. Yeah, it takes all of the core elements, all of the things that I care about as a potential customer, as a potential partner, all the things that I want to know about your business. We notice that there are features of the product or service, there's a description of the customer, and then there are the benefits to the customer or to the community. So think about these bullets. And these are in Canvas too, so you guys can work on this on your own. But take these bullets, and as you answer them, think about what they look like as a complete, cohesive statement. Okay, we're going to work on something called the elevator pitch. Has anybody ever heard of an elevator pitch, ever created an elevator pitch? Are you familiar or comfortable with elevator pitches? I'd love to get your feedback in the comments, in the chat, or if you guys would like to unmute.
yeah, the work I do at elevator pitch is definitely necessary to grab someone's attention and very precisely show them that I know what I'm talking about, and clearly verbalize that to somebody is extremely important to recognize our time, but also to get a point you're across in your what you're about. So it develops over time. It took like a year for me to really get it down, verbalizing it over and over.
Yeah, and it does take time. It's an iterative process. And it's meant to be refined and refined and refined, as you figure out the right way that you want to phrase it, but also as you learn more about your business, your goals, what you want to do with that, what the impact is going to be with your business. So we are going to create elevator pitches. There's some core elements here. And the first one is that it needs to have an attention-grabbing first line. So it should say what you do, who you serve, how you solve the problem, and the top benefit. So we have this example here. We provide small businesses. So we provide small businesses, so that's our customer, with low-cost software support solutions so that they can focus on their customers. Now, this is very simple. It's only the very first sentence to the elevator pitch, but it's very succinct. So we'll break it down. The what, the who, the how, and the benefit. And I want to spend a couple of minutes just focusing on this for a minute. So we've answered those questions on the previous slide. So just very, very quickly, what is your what is your who, what is your how, and what is your benefit? So we'll focus on this for the next 2 minutes. Does anybody want to share out their what, who, how, and benefit? Okay, that's okay if we don't want to share it. But let's be sure to be recording it in your own notes, and we will build this into our complete elevator pitch. So this is really the beginning of your elevator pitch. So your what, your who, your how, your benefit. So that's your first attention-grabbing first line. Next is you want to include a description of the problem being solved. Bonus points if you've got metrics or numbers or something that demonstrates the scope or the size of that problem being solved. So here's an example. Did you know that 20% of small businesses report that technology troubleshooting is a contributing factor to reduced sales and customer satisfaction? So, if you're just talking to me in the elevator and you've got your 2 minutes to pitch it to me, the thing that always catches my attention in an elevator pitch is some number that demonstrates the size and the scope of that problem. And this is a great one. So did you know that 20% of these small businesses are having this issue, right? In my mind, 20%, that's a lot. It's a lot of businesses that are struggling that need some help. So think about your problem that you're solving and think about quantifying it. So, you know who you're solving it for. How many people are you solving it for? How many people are experiencing this problem? What is the impact of that problem on their health, on their longevity, on the community? All the different things that could be an impact. And then you want a description of what makes your product or service unique. So here's an example. Our certified technicians are on call 24 hours a day to serve clients by chat or phone. So getting very specific about the services here. In fact, our own privacy secured software has your company technology profile ready so we can quickly get your team back on track. So if you've just pitched this to me, you've given me your quick who, what, when, why, how, right? In this beginning. And then you told me a very compelling problem with 20% of this group that are experiencing this issue. And oh, dang, there's a solution right there. That's exciting. I'm interested. And then I exit the elevator and I'm still thinking about it. So these are the core elements of your elevator pitch. Our attention grabbing first line, what you do, who you serve, how you solve the problem, the benefit, then the description of the problem. And I don't mean your product, but the description of the problem first. Then you can tell me about your product. If you tell me about your product first, I'm not interested. I want to know why why you've made it. What are you going to positively change in the world and in the community? What is this thing that you're solving? So tell me the core problem first. Tell me how big that problem is, and then tell me what that product or services that you're offering that is going to address that. So before we move on from elevator pitch, do we have any questions? Any feedback, any ideas? Anybody want to share their elevator pitch concept?
Adrian just joined, so I fear he's a little bit of a disadvantage. So if you could just do the quick overview, Cara.
Of the elevator pitch?
Yeah, what we've been talking about today.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Adrian. So we've been talking about getting comfortable with talking about your idea. So, and I will be sharing these slides. They will be available on Canvas, but we started the class with talking about our idea by answering some of these questions. So let's get very specific about the thing that we want to do, the thing that we want to make. So what is the problem I'm solving? What product or service? How does it solve it? How is it different? What's my competitive advantage? Who's going to buy it? Why will they buy it? So the goal of today is to go from this idea to business concept. And to do that, we need to add some detail to it. We need to start figuring out who else is interested, who else would interact with this potential business concept. And so we created our business concept statement, which is a summary of these core questions that we're asking. Basically, it's how your idea exists in the world. And then elevator pitches. These are the core elements that I'm going to just run through again for everyone. But the core elements of your elevator pitch should have this attention-grabbing first line that says your what, your who, your how, your benefit. So, really catch me. Really interested. We just got in the elevator. Tell me the problem that's being solved. Tell me how big that problem is. If you've got some metrics, something that tells me the scope. And then tell me what makes your product or service unique. So that, I'm leaving the elevator and I'm excited about this thing. There's a very big problem, but you're on it and I'm excited about the way that you're going to solve it. All right, so I would love for everyone to focus on your elevator pitch outside of class. This is an important element of your business. It is meant to change and evolve. And really, this is, again, about getting comfortable with sharing our ideas, making them a reality, just putting them out pen to paper, and making them become a true business concept versus just an idea. So let's work on our elevator pitch. Answer these questions. What does your business do? So very simply, what does it do? Use the words work with, want, or offer. So we offer, we provide the services we want to offer, those things. State how your business solves that problem or offers a solution. So what is your product? Notice that this is the third bullet, right? Because the solution is important, but who you are and what you offer, like you need to lead into it in order for us to care a little bit more about the actual solution itself. Tell us what makes your business unique, and consider telling a quick story to just help us understand the elevator pitch. And so once you've created this, go out and get some feedback. Just like our business concept statement, which I passed. Creating a business concept statement, creating an elevator pitch. Now that it exists in the world and we started to figure out a little bit more of the detail, we can talk to customers, we can talk to partners, and it's very important that we spend some time doing this now. On Tuesday, Maggie is going to be getting into our customer discovery questions and actually talking to people. And so I just want to emphasize it doesn't have to be a complete idea. It doesn't have to ever be finished, really. Like, this is meant to change and evolve and to pivot. And that's how we get to something really good. They say in entrepreneurship, you want to fail fast and you want to fail often. So in this case, you really should not be afraid of failure. You shouldn't be afraid of change. You shouldn't be afraid of getting the right answer. Or not getting it, so it's put it out there, see what the world thinks about it, and then begin to refine and to pivot and to iterate and to make it better. So I'd love for you guys to focus on your elevator pitch and focus on this. It's in Canvas. There's a whole elevator pitch assignment in there. The business concept statement is also in there. So you are welcome to use Canvas as just like your drawing board and figure out what this should look like. And that's it. Thank you for being here. Please check in if you haven't already. It just helps us keep track of who's in the program. And we appreciate you being here. So thank you.
Can I say something? Sorry.
Yes, Thurman.
I was gonna say, so the work that I do is, workforce development. So the elevator pitch, this structure definitely helps me kind of even refocus on the way I describe the work that I'm doing. And so if anybody's out there, if you guys pretty much know most people, I am available to just verbalize this to, bounce questions off of, and then come back, because I know that oftentimes, the level and different people that we speak to about an idea or what we do or a business plan, it's going to differ. So be able to be flexible enough to kind of identify and, I think, verbalize your business plan or your business to somebody is going to require you actually verbalizing it. So I'm hoping that as we go forward that this is a safe space for people to share and really kind of verbalize how things, what's in your mind. We're all extremely resourceful people, but organizing those resources and our plans and our ideas in a succinct manner that somebody who, say, might not understand or who's not specific or specialized in your area would actually understand, I think is extremely important for us to be able to verbalize. And I'm hoping people see this as a safe space to do so.
So Thurman, give us
Thurman.
your elevator pitch.
Oh man.
Tell us what you do.
So I do tribal workforce development with Nevada Works, Northern Nevada's Workforce Development Board, to bring together and pair tribes up with the workforce opportunities that are through the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. The problem it solves is there's a lot of great people doing a lot of great work for their communities, but often don't have the resources or the capacity to really fulfill sometimes their goals that they have, or they might not even know the goals that they have, like we're talking about. We have ideas, but how do we get to those goals? I like to think I link opportunity to tribal people and help support their their own development. And sorry, I was kind of blending what we're talking about today with my elevator pitch, and that's kind of I think an example of why having a strong elevator pitch, in mind when talking to people. So yeah, that was a little all over the place. Sorry.
But so
No, that's
Thurman,
great, Thurman. That's the point, is to just talk about it and to get comfortable with talking about it. So it's great.
but I would ask
Go ahead,
Thurman,
Maggie.
is it necessary to say that it's part of an act, a governmental act? Is that key information?
It depends on who I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to like a person in a community, I'm like, I do tribal workforce development to connect training that's available to people within, the 4 sectors that I work within at the moment. And then help to identify and remove barriers to attending, and to also work with job placements. So that's kind of the flexibility that I'm trying to develop. And, like I was mentioning, it takes time and me verbalizing it over and over, and understanding who really is my audience, who I'm speaking to about it, and pulling in the specific details about if it's a person at a high level who might understand WIOA or workforce development, mentioning those, or if it's just a person in the community who could benefit from a service, so understanding I think your audience is another component of this as well.
It is. And with time, you craft different short elevator pitches depending on who the audience is. So you're going to have one that you're going to pull out of your pocket at a party when you're meeting somebody for the first time and don't really know who they are or what they do or how they might relate to you. So you have a very generic one. And then if you're being introduced at a gathering that you went to because you thought there would be people who could be your customers,
Exactly.
you're going to change it up a little bit because you already know why they're there. So you have a little bit more motivation and understanding of who they are and what would resonate with them.
Right.
So it's never a one and done. You've got to have a lot of different ways of talking about your business that you think will be of interest to the person hearing it. But it's still your business. You know the whole thing that it does, but you can focus on the aspects of it that you think that your audience will be interested in.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so StartUpNV, I've got a couple that I use to describe it. Sometimes I'll say that we are Nevada's statewide business incubator. We help startups succeed because the regular rate of failure for startups is more than 9 in 10. So only 1 out of 10 or 10% are going to be successful. And the figures get even worse with more time. 95% of businesses are out of business in 5 years. So we're trying to goose that number if we even just double it so that 20% of businesses are successful, then we're going to help diversify Nevada's economy. So that's one. The other one is we are building the startup ecosystem in Nevada, and we do that by educating entrepreneurs for free and by creating investors and investment funds that the successful entrepreneurs can then get funding to grow their business. So that's what I talk about, 2 different audiences. And that's for somebody that I don't know. If I do know that the person listening to me is an entrepreneur, I won't talk about the investment side necessarily. I do talk about how our goal is to increase the success rate for the entrepreneurs and that our education is free. If I know I'm talking to an investor, I will talk about the investment funds first, but then also let them know that we're working with the entrepreneurs to make them investment ready.
Those are great examples. Yeah, and it's, the first one you mentioned numbers, and that's really eye-catching, and it grabs people by immediately. And then the next one, you funding. So you have numbers and funding, and then also knowing your audience and being able to kind of weave those together accordingly is very beautiful.
Yes, but I've been doing this for 7 years, so so I've had more time to practice. Okay, any questions, anyone? Okay, we're going to have a long session on Tuesday because I have a lot of material to cover. Just brace yourselves.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for being here, and we will see you on Tuesday. I hope you all have a really nice weekend. And please, if you're having any issues accessing Canvas, I know some of you have emailed me, and I will get back to you and make sure that you've got access. But if you have any questions, anything else, I'm happy to help. My email is cara@startupnv.org, CARA@startupnv.org, and I'm happy to assist. So thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming.